So, I intended to start writing a video on my experiences as a new player in the world of Warframe, someone who had come from another action MMO like Destiny 2. Well, that was until I scrapped the idea entirely and put 400 more hours into the game. And then the Old Peace came out, so I did think it would be best to sort of combine the two thoughts into one big mega video, as I do have a good amount to say about both topics, so feel free to sit back, relax, and enjoy. How would I start with the new player experience? Well, I would probably begin by explaining the story, which, if you were to ask me about 60 hours in what the story of Warframe was, I would have shrugged incredibly heavily and go, I don't fucking know, man. I just like it when the guy with the sword obliterates the bad guys, and I can fly around the room at a calm Mach 1000. But if you were to ask me now, I would probably do the exact same thing. As far as I'm aware, there's like a guy in your walls, and the Warframes were people once infected with this infested goop, and you're a child who can pilot them like a big giant mech? And now there are these robot guys who look like crusty birds. I think there's a reason as to why so many videos out there explain the story of Warframe. But from what little I had a grasp on, I liked well enough. I do think the new war is my favorite quest in this game. It offered multiple perspectives of this war, where you played as the Grineer, a militaristic faction that you fight many times throughout the game, as well as the Corpus, a profit-obsessed collective that values their pockets more than their members. Both fronts face devastating losses though, as the war is too much for the two factions to handle, and they eventually fall to the Sentinels. Seeing their perspective, and their eventual fall, really elevated the stakes for me. Not only seeing how the war affected us, but also the other citizens of this galaxy. I think overall, the new war was a really great story that made me appreciate the narrative, from what little I understood, a lot more. So, I've shed a bit of light on how fun I think the gameplay is. And I think I should elaborate. The gameplay was so good that I was willing to slog through the middle game up to 400 hours later. Yes. The feeling of jumping from one side of the map to another with just one, count 'em, a bullet jump is a feeling I've yet to see another game replicate. Not to even mention all the unique Warframes with their own skill sets, that going over it all could be an entire 7-hour-long video just on its own. But I'll summarize. As a newbie, I gravitated toward my starter frame, Mag. I liked her design and thought her abilities were just neat, as she had the ability to pull all the enemies into a specific area with just one button press. Then, with another, I was able to crush all their bodies in a highly satisfying mess of limbs and bodies. As I leveled up more though, I slowly gravitated towards Rhino. His abilities were easy to learn, and I found that I could survive for a lot longer as him than other frames, as he had two huge abilities. Iron Skin, where he gains a huge shield that takes a ton of damage. Then Roar, where he grants all Warframes nearby him increased damage. Rhino was paramount in my survival from the beginning, all the way to unlocking the Steel Path. I remember back when I was first playing, I would just spam the melee buttons because it was so fast and easy to. Now as a slightly more experienced child, I resort to using my gun like a civilized person to mow them down for absolutely ludicrous amounts of damage. And I mean, the way my frames just leap off the ground and flip through the air is just full of the exaggerated swagger of a Warframe. While the game does combat well, and I think the story moments can be exciting, I do take issue with what it is all wrapped in, that being what I self-describe as the now what syndrome. It's terminal, I fear, as the game has huge issues with directing the player on what to do next after the intro mission. They recently released a mission introducing the player to Teshin and showcasing how to utilize mods. This is a great new change. It works well to tell players how to effectively utilize mods to create polarities. However, I think the biggest issue solution is more than just a mission. It needs to be a system-wide change, and that revolves around how the unlocking of planets works, as well as tying into the unlockable quests. Now, I should preface that I am not a developer, nor do I claim to be. I think the people at Digital Extremes are wonderful people, and they're much smarter than my dumbass. With that being said, the progression of unlocking things feels very limiting, not exactly tying well into the current narrative. The game as a whole kind of just releases you into the world to do whatever after the intro mission, The story stops dead in its tracks to go, "Hey man, good luck! Maybe you'll grind hard enough to figure out the next bit of the story." It makes what is eventually really good stories that are being told hard to get to. I think that's a big key to why only 40% of players on Steam have gotten the Hooked achievement, which is only playing for 2 hours of missions in total. I feel like it would be a lot easier to get people into the game if they made the whole unlocking of the solar systems feel more like an adventure than just checking items off of a list. It's tough to recommend people this game because if they do get it, they're greeted by 20 to 30 hours of what appears to be busy work with no real way to continue the story, until eventually you're just spun onto the track again. And the quest progression doesn't help much either, feeling like different plot points are just thrown at you and you'd better remember them because they're all important. I just believe this part of the game could be executed a lot better, and feel that if that were solved, the game would be even better. Now, for the big new content drop to play with, The Old Peace. This was, I believe, the first content drop I was here for. So what did I think of it? I think the new gameplay edition of the Focus School weapons is cool visually, although I still have yet to unlock any of them, so I can't exactly explain my thoughts on it. But what I have unlocked is Uriel, or Uriel. I am actually not sure how to pronounce that. So sorry, but he is now one of my favorite frames to mess around with. He does some crazy, serious damage output, even in the steel path. And his second ability to regen his health makes it hard to kill him. Plus, the addition of 2 new modes helps beef up this update with the Descendia and the Perita Rebellion. In the Descendia, you travel deep into Roth's memories. 21 different floors occupy this challenge, where delving deeper increases enemy difficulty, but also the rewards as well. I like it. I think it's just neat. I do wish there were perhaps an endless mode of some sorts, as I tend to love grinding for materials and it would make it a lot easier to do so, as you're limited to getting rewards on a weekly basis. Now, the Perita Rebellion. I love this. 3 separate missions take you back to the past, allowing you to experience the battlegrounds of past wars. It's a Blitz-style mission where you try to complete as many objectives as possible before the timer expires. When it does, you're thrown into a boss arena, where, depending on the mission you chose, you fight that boss. The missions are fast and decently easy to do. I love attaching myself to those spinny things and flying across the map. Pairing it with Uriel, you could barely touch the ground. Both are fun additions and allow you to gain fun new rewards, such as the Vinquibus, letting me snipe the heads off of enemies, then slash through them with the same weapon. It's so fun, guys. The campaign was also interesting. From what I could gather, it was shortly after the Zariman Zero incident, with our operator taking up a Warframe and using it to fight anarchists. The name Old Peace is because the sentients had this flower that allowed them to break from their hive mind, becoming independent people. Although our favorite person ever, Ballas, betrayed the sentients and destroyed their supply, prompting them to attack and having their forces eradicated. During this, our operator was enrolled at an academy where they were training with their sentient friend Adis. After their graduation was when everything went to shit. Adis attacked us from a misunderstanding. Realizing it too late, they almost killed us. Discerning what had happened, they attempted to revive us, but it took all their strength and they passed away shortly after. Shit had me crying in the club, man! But it was really good though. With how little time we had to learn about the character, I loved Adis. He was so silly. But as I've been saying, I have a propensity to miss crucial details of stories, so if I got anything wrong, please feel free to write me a very strongly worded message in the comments about how much I suck and how much you hate me. The new story revelations were cool though, and I am incredibly excited as to what is next for the story of Warframe. To drive it all home, I believe that the gameplay of Warframe is bar none. And while there are some serious issues about how the game introduces new players to it, I do think that where the game is at right now is a great spot to be in, with very healthy player counts and a thriving community with constant updates. I'll continue to play and support this game, as there's still so much I have yet to see. It's really that big. Thank you for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. Hell, let me know if you're interested in more Warframe content, as I do want to talk about it more. Until next time. Be sure to tune in next week when all the male Warframes are going to be ranked on which one I want to fuck.